So in a previous project video, I built a light table for drawing, and I love it. I use it all the time and it works great. The problem though is I also use that surface to work on my computer, and so when I want to go to draw things, I have to move my computer and everything along with that. So now what I want to build is a standing desk where I can use my computer exclusively, and we'll also have some open storage where I can put my camera and my tripod and other gear like that. To start, my dad and I cut the plywood into 4 different lengths, and then each of the 4 lengths is cut into several 1.5-inch strips, and I think I cut over 100 strips altogether. I'll have a set of plans on my website for this build in case you want to download it. I'll put that link down below. Next, I wanted to make a frame to help me when I started assembling all these strips together. I used a 1x6 to make the exterior frame. Now this frame is the exact dimensions of the outside of what will become the standing desk top. Now if I had to make this again, I would make the frame match the inside dimensions of the desktop. By making the frame match the outside dimensions of the desktop, it ensured that all the outside corners and edges were lined up pretty well. But for whatever reason, even though the outside edges and corners lined up well, the inside corners and edges did not. And so if I had to make this again, I would make the frame match the inside dimensions of the desktop. In that way, it's a lot easier to sand on the outside edges and corners rather than the inside. So the reason I had to cut 4 different lengths is because of the assembly. When I assemble it, I stack them every other, so I'll have a long top and then a short top and then a long top. In that way the corners act kind of like a box joint. And the brad nails that I'm shooting in aren't for strength, it's just to keep everything from sliding around during the glue up. You can obviously do this without a brad nailer, it would just take more time and patience keeping everything aligned. I let the glue dry and then I came back with a scraper and scraped off as much as I could. Then it was time to get out the belt sander. This takes down some of the high ridges rather quickly. There were a couple of these spots where the end of one piece didn't match up with the rest of the surface. So rather than sanding the entire surface down to that level, I took some thin scraps and I just glued those in place. And I came back with the orbital sander and sanded them smooth. Then it was time for some finish sanding. I started with 100, moved to 150, and ended with 220 grit. And for finish, I used boiled linseed oil. And next it was time to make the hairpin legs. Now I won't go into a lot of detail on how to make these because I have a separate video on just how I did that, and I'll leave a link to that down in the description below. But basically I made a jig so I could bend the hairpins in them, then I came back with a third support on each leg, welded those to a corner brace, and you got a hairpin leg. Now all that's left to do is screw the hairpin legs onto the bottom of the desk. I used a tape flag on the drill bit to mark the 1-inch depth of the screws I'm using. Check it. Again, if you want to see how these hairpin legs are made, I got a separate video just on that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, it would be awesome if you could subscribe, as I put out a new project video as often as my life allows. Thanks for watching.